Hello everybody, welcome. It's NLC Division 2. I was just looking through the rosters for the next game because I wanted to catch up with all the teams, and I pretty much knew everyone, but I wanted to see if there was any interesting. UniQ Esports Club, my friends. Had a great opening. They won their game on Tuesday. They have Stumpy as a sub. Our Lord and Savior. Malphite Ult, Baron Steel. Ornn Savant. Heimerdinger top main Stumpy is on the bench for them. And for me, that's beautiful. I want them to be playing. They have Nihus as starter, who's really, really good in the top lane, so that makes a lot of sense. But I want to see Stumpy Jamada. Even just for the interview. I just want Stumpy back in my life.
Yeah. Maybe we can snag him for an interview. He did give you your Heimerdinger game in playoffs when it mattered the most. Said he promised he'd do it. And he gave it to you. Did it win? No. But looking away from
No, but anyway.
to the starting lineup of UniQ, a very, very impressive first game of the split. I think most people were, well, if they weren't rating UniQ as one of the strongest teams coming into this tournament, what are you doing? Secondly, they were definitely proving anybody that rated them any lower than sort of like second place very, very wrong. London United on the opposite side didn't really have much of a go at it into Munster Rugby. Unfortunately, despite losing what was a very strong lineup coming out of spring from Munster, rebuilt pretty much from the ground up. Having heard from Kay in the interview, it was a bit of a hectic off-season, but so far seemed to work into London United. London United themselves trying to find a little bit of success. I think definitely a lot to work on from their game one in particular. I believe it was the draft that was a little bit hard to execute at the very least. I think especially when you come into Division 2 level tournaments, if you're not particularly confident as a team that you can execute slightly more complex things, always going back to drawing board work. So I really hope that here, especially into UniQ, who I'm expecting to come out full all cylinders firing, that they try and draft something that I'm not going to say can hold on and sit there and scale, but at the same time, something that, is simple to play, has a very clear, bridge, right? Something that you can play off. Typically, that's mid jungle, something that scales out of the bottom lane, and maybe, a top lane bully that they can lean on from Super Big Fun. But did have that own game. Contrary to his name, it wasn't Super Big Fun in the slightest. Was absolutely demolished going into Vangsted's Camille. But moving into picks and bans, Camille actually taken off the board by UniQ. Lulu will follow that table, and over on the London United side, taking away the two AP powerhouses that are Lilia and Gwen.
Yeah, super big sad in the last game, unfortunately. But we're seeing a lot of supports taken off the table, and if we see the Talia, that will really be the clean sweep of the really powerful stuff on this patch that we've been expecting to see banned away. Of course, stuff like Viego would still be available, and of course, all those marksmen has yet to be touched, but we're not in the same world where you need to ban Zera, you need to ban Jinx, as we were last split. So the question will be, are they going to go towards that Talia, or are they going to take something else away? It's going to be the Pike actually removed, which means that there is clearly one champion above the others, but the Wukong, his place at the top, and he's going to be locked in.
Okay, so it's that trio, right? That Lucian, Talia, and of course the Wukong, first picked by UniQ. We'll see how London United want to prioritize, because they can't go Nami and Lucian in the same rotation. And if they go along with that Lucian lock-in here, then UniQ can always take away the Nami and maybe pair up with something if they so want to, but it's definitely a little bit risky. Lucian can still also go in the solo lanes. Shafty giving me the Kane hover. I appreciate that, but I expect he will be the one piloting the Wukong, and we'll see what exactly they want to do. They see the Lucian. We've seen a lot of answers or attempted answers into Lucian. Ezreal seems to, be the popular one, and Guff does definitely play a pretty good Ezreal. I would love to see him pilot it, but again, we haven't seen too many successful Ezreal lanes come into it. Norless last second stop over and lock in. So looking to maybe play a kill lane into Lucian Nami instead. They might actually take it to the Lucian. I mean, honestly, I would love the Draven rotation. Just say, hey, balls to the wall. We know you're going to try and lock in Nami, or maybe someone like Karma, right? Something that's going to enchant and buff up this Lucian. We're going to try and take it to you in the 2v2 and kill you ourselves.
And that's what they're going to do. They're going to lock in the Draven. So they're going to say, hey, you've got bullets, I've got axes. Let's see who wins this one out. And you've got to imagine that it will probably be the support lock-in over on side London United, because if they don't, then they're going to see the Nami ban, they're going to see the Karma ban, you've got to imagine, and then you're dredging a little bit when you go for those supports to go alongside the Lucian. I mean,
Okay.
I am a huge fan of this. This is
Yeah.
old school Jamada.
Yeah, it's old school, and it's a smart response, right? You are probably eyeing up that Nami Lucian, then the Nautilus comes in. That kill lane maybe a little bit too scary to deal with. One of the strongest counters into Nautilus, the Braum. Now all of a sudden those concussive blows can be stacked up so quickly because of the double shot. I beg your pardon. Shot passive from Lucian. So now all of a sudden engaging very, very difficult. And you already have a bit of a dive composition when you have the Wukong there. So UniQ probably going to think very carefully about their solo lane picks and whether or not they want to fully commit into a team composition that really thrives at teams that are trying to come at them the worked ground, or rather the unraveled earth from Talia. Very powerful tool to misplace. And now also stun up enemies inside of her kit. I would love to see London United go for something that is even more anti-dive on this R4. Hopefully even a flex so they can really try and make it work. Veigar could have been another pick like that, to be honest with you, but they remove it away themselves from Eden. Maybe looking at something like the Ahri, I think that would be a very smart ban away here from UniQ, as Victor will also join the ban table alongside Irelia.
So final ban is going to be considered whether they want to go for something strong on that top side. Camille has already been taken off the table. Fiora is
Really want to
still
see.
hanging around.
Yeah, I really, really want to see the Ahri ban here from UniQ. I think it probably just makes the most sense as a blind pick. Then you try and give super big fun R5 into Neos. But I think maybe they do after after the ones that Super Big Fun had. Maybe they are just gonna sort of blind pick a top laner and say, "Hey, have fun." Olaf and Aurelia being banned away on the opposite side does kind of leave up Ornn as a very free pick, but maybe there's something else that they're considering. As our sniper hovering a bunch of AD carries, maybe Tristana ends up getting locked in and going into a solo lane, and it seems that will be the case. So no Ahri locking, but again, Tristana totally fine at dealing with dives. So we'll see what UniQ want to go for here, because they haven't entirely pigeonholed themselves into a particular theme just yet. But right now, it's a very aggressive bottom lane draft, and Wukong is going to want to have to go in at points to do Wukong things, right? Get the Cyclone going, get the disruption in the backline going. Are UniQ going to just stockpile in to what will be a very hard team to dive with so much self-peel and so many peeling tools? We're going to have a LeBlanc come in, so a little more, non-committal poke damage definitely there. Can be a bit tricky to play around. Again, the Talia on this patch, if she knows you're coming, so definitely want to see Eden work around Fog of War in particular so that there's less reaction time coming in from multiple members of London United. And hovering on the Renekton, looking at a really, really aggressive early game draft. If you do see this one locked in, I'd like to see this a little bit more. Can team fight a little better? Still diving in. I want to see London United honestly respond to this with something, that is entirely defensive. In my opinion, I think they already have enough, return tools in that aspect. Honestly, maybe something like Malphite would work really well here, in my opinion. I think you can survive the Gnar lane really, really easily, and then you can start to turn it into re-engages off the back of Braum. We'll see what Super Big Fun wants to do. He's been hovering the Kled for a very long time, and it does actually end up getting locked in. It's an old school counter to Gnar. It's not one that you see very commonly. Maybe Super Big Fun is a bit of a Kled savant, and I just never figured it out.
I was just the fact that you were just saying like, yeah, I'd like to see something defensive. They can peel back, something that they can really use, and he's just hovering the Kalam. Don't do it. This is not a defensive pick. Super Big Fun. He's like, I don't care. Smash it in. I'm gonna kill Nihil's level 2. I'm gonna kill him so hard that Stumpy subbed in on Saturday. This is what Super Big Fun is laying down the gauntlet with. I haven't seen a Kled for a little while. What's he bringing to the table, Jamada? What do you think that this Kled is going to be able to provide?
In the context of this game, what I expect Kled will be doing is, the thing he does the best, running at the damn enemy team. I will probably expect it to be responsive as opposed to proactive most of the time, but obviously, at the end of the day, as Kled, you can kind of do what you damn please with your armor. If you need to run away, run away. If you want to go forward, go forward. I expect that if UniQ overcommit to engages, then we'll see Super Big Fun come in with a sort of more of a flank angle as often as possible. But at the same time, he can kind of be used as a primary engage tool. It just can be a little bit tricky when you're moving into certain targets which can kind of self-peel away from themselves. If Eden is, very comfortable or very patient rather with things like the distortion. Neos, if he's in Mega Gnar, can very easily gnar him away, then also jump away. Decoy also available for Shafty. So it's definitely a bit of a tricky pick. The reason why I call out for the Malphite, safer lane, then you can always play for re-engage once you see UniQ overcommit in a manner which seems punishable. It's a little bit harder to punish, in my opinion, with the likes of a Kled, but we'll see what they can get done in this game number 3 of the day.
Well, welcome back to Summoner's Rift, everybody. UniQ on the blue side. London United on the red. London United searching for their first win, but it's only day number 2, so they haven't been searching for too long. UniQ obviously very dominant win in their first game of the league, and the first game in this league for them, having not been here last split. I'm very excited to see how these two compositions want to play out, because we've got a Kled, we've got a Draven. We've also, notably, got the Lucian mid rather than bot with the Tristana down in the bot lane.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, so I suppose London United maybe just playing more for comfort is my guess. They prefer these lane matchups. Lucian can definitely deal with LeBlanc one-to-one a lot easier, I'd feel, than Tristana can. I think with Tristana, the issue is, the trading patterns can be a little bit awkward. Whereas the trading pattern is definitely a lot more favorable, in my opinion, for Lucian. That's because, kind of having to time your rocket jump with where LeBlanc is can be a little bit tricky. With the distortion, it turns into a bit of a mind game. Whereas with Lucian, you can always just kind of dash in a more neutral way, where you're always going to be able to auto LeBlanc no matter where she is. Or, of course, dodge away on the chains a little more freely and get more response damage down in the bottom lane. Tristana, no Halo Blades, actually has lethal tempo. Halo Blades with that Braum, very easy to stack up the concussive blows if you see an engage come through, but playing more for the scaling and the range differential that can come through between herself and the Draven as the levels start to come in.
Yeah, when you start getting that passive stacked up and you're able to be much safer sitting back and firing forward, especially when you've got a Braum in front of you who, as you mentioned, is very, very effective into the Nautilus. Potentially not level 1, though. He's going to be caught out and take a whole heap of damage as Guff lets the axes fly. Rusty going to take a couple of the parting blows as well. But for London United, with that change up in the bot lane, as you mentioned, it's going to be a slightly slower one, but in the top side, super big fun. I'm going to want to stamp his authority down. You said he'd be more likely to be reactive in this game. Is that going to be true of laning phase as well, or is he going to be wanting to stamp his authority down onto Nahis?
Oh no, absolutely wants to stamp his authority down. Anytime Nahis is in mini, you just expect him to try and look for trades. That is kind of how Kled lanes normally go. You look for any window where a champion is slightly weaker, and Kled will likely just outstat you. As long as he has the violent tendencies up the W for attack passive, you will look to trade. See, just using it here on the creeps, but again, 12-second cooldown or so, can look to trade once Mega Knight is out.
He's been a little bit careful, caught out, but the damage is going to go down to Rock Bengi, who might have been a little bit over-aggressive, burning low, first blood. Goes the way of Rusty Sniper. I'm going to try and get one more auto attack. We'll be able to do so. There's the cash in as he's got Shafty coming in for support. Buzz, he's overextended. Will go down as well. Rusty Sniper already used that jump to go in aggressively. So is he going to be able to survive as Guff gets a double? That's disaster for London United.
Yeah, Shafty second to the punch, but his punch is a lot more efficient than Harnkart's was. As Roran Bengi gives up his life, maybe the call was to turn onto the Talia. It does eventually work. The flash comes forward from Guff. And then as Rusty Sniper and Buzzy try and pick up the remains of the play, Guff gets back up from Shafty. All of a sudden, Draven has 2 kills and assist. He is likely going to base with a monstrous first base as Chains connects Sarges. Okay, good opening from Roran Bengi. It's not often we see supports open out onto the top side of the map, so thumbs up for up, thumbs up from me. As we get the flash of Lucian. And it's just the little things like that. Honestly, sport players, if you are listening to me, open out to the top side of the map first and roam towards mid lane. It kind of is a bit broken sometimes. Mid laners will not be expecting it. And if the lane setup is there, you'll find many more kills than you'd probably expect on your first outing back onto the map. But now that flash is blown, I expect Eden and Shafty to be a lot more proactive in trying to shut down Sarge in the mid lane. Has a bit of a CS lead for himself at the moment. And again, is why I did see the swap around. Was expecting the Lucian Braum in the bottom side. It did end up landing in Sarge's hands. However, Rusty Sniper not having the best time after how things went off the back of that gank, as Guff is going to return with the Noon Quiver. But still, stat for stat, only really lacking in the attack speed as the AD to match the items for now.
So it's an excellent start for UniQ, and we were talking a little bit before we came on for this game, and we were saying, hey, like, what were the 2 games like from your experience, Joanna, in terms of obviously watching them on Tuesday, getting to cast both these teams in their, I was going to say debut games. It wasn't a debut for London United, but it was their first game of the split, and you said, look, UniQ were super dominant in that first game. They looked really great. Our producer was saying that as well. And giving them this kind of opening, actually going in aggressively once again, but once again, Handcut is in the neighborhood, is just going to dissuade any kind of aggression from Rotbengi. And when you look at some of the player names on UniQ, you can absolutely see why they're doing so well so far. And I'm a little bit worried for London United.
Yeah, definitely. Name star power, definitely. You'd probably have UniQ down as winning out, and I think after the 2 mirrors in performance, you'd have been having UniQ down to win this game, regardless. And right now, using the pressure from the mid lane really well, they were able to get mid lane priority, but the only difference is London United have brought down Super Big Fun. No one more available.
Oh, Buzzy goes low on the side. Sarge's going to get the damage down. Eden has a bomb rolling on him. Can the dragon be secured? Yes, it can. But how many members of UniQ can get away? Goff is just going to be trapped in the pit. He hasn't got a flash. He's trying to get some damage down. Can't find Hunka. He's going to flash Shafty, thinking about it for a second, but decides against. And the teleport will come through from Super Big Fun to make sure that Nar can't gain too much on the tower. Excellent play from London United as they even up the scoreline.
Yeah, they at the very least do pick up those 2 kills. Almost traded out by Guff again onto Hanka. Only 1 HP left available, and great roam from Super Big Fun. Crashed in the wave, barely misses any CS as he teleports back to the top side. I was kind of questioning it as he had no ultimate, but still, now that he's back up here, made the fight work, got 3 assists for his roam. Definitely going to feel happy about that. And United, only real downside to the players, they didn't pick up the Dragon. UniQ were able to sneak that one away amongst the mayhem. It will be an Infernal that spawns up next. So one of the, I would say, more passive dragons, but it's definitely not one of the more active souls that we are likely going to end up having.
Yeah, it's nice to see a different one with the Hex deck going down first. I enjoy Hex deck Dragon, but the dream is always 5 different souls in 5 different games. I appreciate the fact that, right, we're like, oh, since NLC has changed to 5 games a day, we'll just make sure there are 5 dragons for you to give that opportunity. Not going to pan out today because of the first 2 Hex decks.
Just glad that the dragon that shall not be named is no longer.
Why would you bring it up? Why would you bring that up?
You know what? I'm sorry. It's like Voldemort. You know?
You didn't need to. Why would you say that name as well?
What? There's stuff bad about it.
Cursed. Absolutely cursed.
Voldemort. What now? Oh no, scary. He's gonna show up in my dreams and murder me.
The only thing that shows up in my dreams is that Ghoulbull dressed like Mr. Rogers, and I don't like it. I said it on Twitter when that video came out. He is my new sleep paralysis demon. And
you know,
I don't like it.
I understand. To be honest with you, I really do.
There are a lot of good screenshots of obviously the LEC caster announcement was up. A lot of talent from NLC Division 1 and Division 2 up on that one. So massive congratulations to those guys. But Goldberg's like tilted head smile. There's been a couple of good screenshots of it so far.
Yeah,
and I'm very pleased.
Not surprised. I mean, that skit was just golden. If we're to talk about it for a second, these teams are starting to convene towards the mid and the top side of the map. A lot of attention being brought down as Buzzy going to give Sarge a little bit of support in this mid lane. Rotbengi does hit level 6 though.
Oh, the top side though. Nigel's in a bit of trouble. Handcat's coming up, so is Shaft. It's going to be a 2v2. But what's the scoreline going to be in the fight? Nice Nar into the wall, and it's going to be just the catch onto 1. Super Big Fun goes down. Meanwhile, in the river, Rotbengi needs to be a little bit careful. Throws down the depth charge, but it's only going to land onto 1. But there you go. With Buzzy as well. Nice stun onto Eden Fox. Almost. The color comes out, but it's not able to hit Rotbengi enough to get the kill pressure down. As Buzzy throws down a Winter's Bite. UniQ managed to grab 1, but it looked like it could have been more.
It definitely could have been more. Great catch on the top side. As London United, they were looking for a play, just not able to find it, and now UniQ should be able to pick up this Herald and much more.
Absolutely. They could look to grab themselves. They managed to get 1 plate. They weren't able to get a second down onto the bot side because Buzzy returned. I like the support's roaming is nice. It's good to see Rotbengi and Buzzy being proactive around the map. Let's play. Where should this Rift Herald go? So Shafty secured this one. Last game we were talking about the top lane potentially being a good option. I'm not sure if that's going to be the same this one because there's a Gnar up there you probably don't want to give too much to. Is it about breaking up a mid or is it about going bot and getting gold into Draven?
Draven. Yeah, it has to go to Draven, I think. He's in the game. He did obviously die, but he already has his Kraken Slayer, which is pretty huge. I would like to just see the continued snowball of this Draven. For now, actually, Rusty Sniper just based and picked up his own Kraken Slayer. So, I have to note, he did also pick up 2 kills amongst the mess that was that dragon fight on the bottom side. Is for now at parry. And, you know, normally if you talk about scaling in a game like this, You'd look 1-to-1 and you'd probably say, well, London United probably all right. 2 AD carries, at least 1 AP carry there. Decent front line, a lot of peel. And when you talk about how these comps are likely to interact, I mean, UniQ having to dive forward into so much or so many strong defensive tools, and especially the concussive blows as it scales into the game, it's going to be super hard to deal with. But I just feel like UniQ, how they executed on their game on Tuesday, might be able to circumvent a lot of these issues, find picks in a small windows of tempo where London United, you know, they're just about to start rotating to a play that they know they have to be at, but UniQ have already beat them to the punch. Pick up a play. We'll see, though. I think London United have a pretty strong chance, especially after they're able to come back with that Dragon Fight. The gold difference right now, really not much in it. And when you take a look at the inventories, it's pretty much dead even, loads of components, and it's really only the 2 AD carries that are neck and neck. But it seems like UniQ will be picking up this Dragon for free. Neutral objective game so far entirely been in their favor.
Now it's going to be the Mountain Soul spawning up onto the Rift. 5 minutes until we get our third Dragon of the game. But as you said, a slightly more passive Dragon, giving some of those defensive stats and making everyone a little bit more durable. More so than the patch already did. Rotbengi hanging around in the wings. You've got to feel like he might want to try and engage. We'll be able to find the Tristana with the ultimate and the stun as well. Going to be able to dive away, though, as Hankat moves forward. Buzzy's here as well. And Buzzy actually goes low in turn. UniQ gonna maybe try and pressure, but in the mid lane, it's Eden who's in a lot of trouble. Gonna get cut down as they look for the dive now. But that's a really nice glacial fissure landing onto Sharpie. Rotbengi goes down to the tower. UniQ overextended and overstayed their welcome. Sharpie stays alive for a second longer, has to flash away before he gets hit by the stones. London United capitalized.
Bit of a miscommunication, honestly. The trio rather, of UniQ on the bottom side, trying to make this hero play work. Guffey was turned around, walking back towards the river. I'm not sure what the call exactly was, but it certainly wasn't to die, but that was exactly what was on Ron. Bengi's man in the mid lane. Super Big Fan finds another pretty decent roam towards the mid lane, finds himself another assist, picks up an Eden. And I think the way the ability is coded, it just makes it so that even if Eden, you know, dashes away, or I think if he's forced into passive during the charge, still always finds it. And of course, the tether is going to reveal which LeBlanc is the real one as long as it lands. There was just so much burst damage that came through between Sarge and Super Big Fun that there was really no escaping that one from Eden unless he was super early on the trigger ball for the distortions.
It's able to see London United being aggressive, being the ones who are driving the game at this stage of it. And when you've got someone like the Cleared, as we mentioned, he can be really great being reactive. He can be really great diving in and going for those more, what's the word?
Go on, I'm going to let you sink on this one.
Reactive plays. That wasn't what I was looking for, but it does work. Yeah. As he's opportunistic was the word I was actually looking for.
There you go.
As Super Big Fun. But he's being very, very proactive. He's moving down the map. You've seen 2 roams already, 4 assists on the Kled. Getting out of lane with the Gnar, who now has hit an item, isn't going to be so scared about the all-in from the Kled as he was in laning phase. And it's really great to see. Now for UniQ, they've got to ask the question of what's our game plan? What do we want to be doing? They have got themselves 2 dragons, which is always a great start. Obviously, the Rift Herald as well went their way and a lot of damage down onto this bot lane tower. In the top side, only he has to be a little bit careful. Will be able to jump away, but not too far. As Super Big Fun and Handcat look to get the damage down onto the Gnar. The ultimate is burned, and so is the flash. But Nihas cannot escape Natalia.
Yes, can't escape that one. 2 big boulders. Also got knocked up a bit. Fortunately for himself, won't be able to escape that gank. Decent pick, but what will they get from it? Looks like the full tower is on the bottom side. London United playing fully to yield that side of the map as UniQ look to try and answer the cross map a little faster than London United do.
It looks like it's going to be Super Big Fun. Handcat just removing this tower from the Rift. It won't be first tower of the game because, of course, bot lane tower has already been secured by UniQ. The combination of Draven and the Rift Herald, seeing that one go down just after the 14-minute mark. Eden moving in, trying to get towards Handcat. But it's a 2v1 still. I'm not really sure if that was the decision to be made. In the mid lane, Guff is going to throw axes and get Sarge down. It's actually going to be a shutdown for the Draven, which is very nice for the gold intake. But questionable decision from UniQ's mid laner.
Yeah, I mean, I think just not expecting the Kled to still be there. Maybe if you're mentally counting, you should be, though. Could have been cut quite close as in the mid lane. Guff picking up that shutdown. Gonna be really big. Also, the passive gold, don't forget, hadn't died for a couple of minutes since that dragon fight. So picking that one up, it's gonna be a huge injection of gold. In fact, actually, observers could quickly swap over to the gold because I'm kind of curious how much he's sitting on. 2.6k. So he's gonna finish his Essence Reaver as he goes back to base. Shafty also sitting on 1,000 gold himself. If you take a look at the overall gold differences, a lot of that was just front-loaded entirely into the Draven. Back and forth across the board for now, but everybody, mostly on parry, right? Everybody has mythics, and beyond that, it is pretty much components. Actually, I'll take that back. Eden Fox still waiting to make it to his Luden's Echo, but I mean, we're 40 seconds away from this dragon spawning up, and he's on the top side of the map. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it in time.
And this could be the decisive factor in the next couple of plays at least. The fact that this LeBlanc is so far behind. And when you're up against the Lucian in the mid lane, that AD carry who can do so much work and is already sitting on the Kraken Slayer, full boots and a couple of long swords just to give that extra bit of damage on the exchange. Surely you've got to favour London United when we come to this next dragon fight.
Yeah, no, I think I do. And it seems like Unique's call on the map is just to yield it. Eden Fox is committing to the top side push. They're going to get this tower. And a lot of creeps will be missed. Rusty Sniper is going to, at the very least, half rotate up, but I think he's just taking the Raptors instead. So this should be the Dragon for London United. It's about the extended trade here now. Because London United pick up that tower in the bottom side. So that's going to be a 1-for-1 tower trade. Dragon will come in. Will any more pressure be lent up to the top side? Yes, this Herald's going to get dropped. So tier 2 tower going to be threatened at the very least. Draven are just going to go a little bit wide, thrown out a little bit too early. Concat not taking that Dragon down quite as fast perhaps as I was thinking. The Herald Charge will go in, but no tower will be taken down, crucially. There's a 1-for-1 on towers, but London United pick up that Dragon, and no longer will the early soul threat be looming over London United's head.
Things have been slowed down by at least 5 minutes, if not more, because London United have looked like they're in the ascendancy in this game, and Unique have got tools, they have got ability, but it feels very, very nice for London United. I was worried for them in the early game, but with those couple of exchanges, those couple of good picks and good fights, have swayed, in my opinion, back towards them potentially. But Unique moving back onto the Rift. It's actually going to be the Bloodthirster second rather than the Essence Reaver on the Draven. A bit old school, a bit classic. Is that going to change how much damage he can do in the next couple of fights?
Yeah, I mean, definitely so. Going for the Bloodthirster, it's a much more defensive option, that's for sure. It will definitely keep him alive if London United ever are the ones that are, trying to move forward or push forward. I was expecting the Essence Reaver, we called out that normally what comes in second, but we'll see. We'll certainly keep him topped up, and Draven, one of those kind of champions where, because he's dealing so much damage with his auto attacks, he does vamp up a lot back. So we'll see how well this Bloodthirster serves him. Actually, in one of our bits on Division 1, I can't remember which player it was, maybe it was Spiky, I said, that asked for the Bloodthirster to be buffed, and honestly, I kind of agree with him. The item, it almost feels niche these days, as opposed to a strong item that can be built in most situations. Feels like it's been a while since Bloodthirster's been in the meta.
Yeah, definitely. It was back in the day when you went IE second item Bloodthirster on pretty much every marksman. Obviously before the mythics in the dark times. But yeah, it's an item that you do see on champions like Draven, as you mentioned, do slightly better with it, just because it does allow that to be ramped up very, very quickly with the amount of damage that he's doing, and he likes to be a little bit more in the mix than other marksmen, potentially just because of that range and wanted to be able to catch the axes even if they fall a little bit out of position. But we'll have to see if that serves him well. If we're going to get a fight before he gets his third item, which may well still be the Essence Reaver, he might have just got these items in the different order to allow himself to survive a little bit against Starge, who's doing exceptionally well, or Hankat, or even Super Big Fun, who might want to drive towards this Draven in the next couple of fights. But it looks like those fights aren't too forthcoming. Neither team feeling like there's anything to fight over. We've got Dragon in 2 minutes, and pushing isn't really serving either too well, so it's just sit back, relax, and see what's going to happen in a couple.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. I want to probably say Infinity Edge, maybe Lord Dominic's as well. There's a fair amount of armor being built across the board. Buzzy will also eventually finish up that locket, which passively will give people even more armor around him. So Lord Doms, i.e. just because you will be able to hit that 60% threshold on third item. That's my expectations. As a Rusty Sniper, speaking of Lord Dominic's regard, has finished up his own. So 2 items now on the board for the AD carry. So at parity, finally with his counterpart yet again. But like you say, I expect, the next 30 seconds or so, quiet, 40 more beyond that. That's when we'll start to see a little bit of action. London United able to deny the soul point pressure. Will they be able to do it again? More Unique, be able to find an angle, I think. I'm looking towards Shafty. to get, you know, a good engage down in the backline to really cause some disruption. Robengi to try and follow up on it, try and set up Guff and Eden to really try and find some damage. But again, team fighting with these champions in the unit that they are in can be a bit difficult again because of how well London United responded in the draft, right? They bring in the Braum in the laning phase to shut down the Nautilus. It's also great at dealing with diving champions like Na, like Wukong, and Tristana, Lucian all have great self-peeling tools already in their kit. And Hankart with the Talia does great at shutting down mobility. So they have to pick and choose their fights very, very carefully. They haven't really been able to do so for a little while. Hankart gets chunked out heavily.
That's a lot from Eden, who's a player who we've talking about a little bit potentially being the question mark in this game so far. But if he can take Hankart pretty much out of the fight with just one combination, that's definitely worthwhile. He's now looking to put some poke down onto Super Big Fun, but he's definitely a beefier target. Hankart returns with about half health after taking down those Raptors. But it looks like they're just wanting to stamp their authority on the mid lane before the Dragon spawns up. You can see on the side, Wukong is hanging around Shafty, potentially looking to make something happen, but London United is staying very close to their turret, and we know how powerful these are on the current patch. London United now stepping forward towards the river, trying to get some damage down. Only find Robengi though, Eden diving forward towards Hankart, who has to go golden, and breaking out the stopwatch there. That's an excellent play from UniQ, and now they're going to move towards the Dragon, sorry, but now the re-engage strong way in from Robengi. The damage on the backline is absolutely massive. Ross Sniper, though, he's going to be shut down. Eden going to be able to secure that one. Buzzy now stepping forward towards Eden to try and lock him up, but will die for his trouble. Shafty follows Sarge over the wall and will bring the mace down. Nihus now stepping towards Kled, throws a boulder, but killing him isn't really the focus, just chasing him away is. Hankart somehow survives, but loses 3 members, and UniQ set themselves up for Soul Point.
And I said looking for Shafty is the key here, trying to find disruption and setting up the rest of UniQ to have a successful team fight, and that is exactly what he does. And on top of that, the rest of the dive onto multiple members is too much for London United to deal with. London United probably deal with front-to-back team fights. Great. What did UniQ do? Break up the fight and approach from multiple angles. You can't peel off in that many directions and expect to survive each individual 1v1, because that is what all of the UniQ champions do spectacularly. And in this case, London United get torn apart by the flank. They lose the Dragon now. One more Dragon UniQ have Mountain Soul. They also lose that mid lane tier 1, so a big swing in momentum there. It felt like UniQ was slowly losing control of the game, but maybe they'll be able to grasp it once they return back out to the map and spend the gold from that fight.
Where they spend that gold and how it helps them in the next one is going to be a massive point in this matchup. Robengi, defending the mid lane tower on his own, takes a bit of a damage while Eden turns up to make sure that this one won't go down right now. But UniQ, the kills are even, but the territory they've gained is nice. The gold lead is also pretty comfy. 2,500 gold at the 24-minute mark is nothing to write home about, but it's definitely something that they'll feel confident with. Third item for the Draven will be the Infinity Edge, for those of you watching how that build is progressing, and that is going to cause a lot of damage.
Yeah, there you go. I was expecting IE or Lord Doms, and I expect the Lord Dominic's regard to be 4th item, a lot of armor coming in. Zonya's now for Hankart to deal with a lot of the dive and negate some of that long damage when she does end up jumping in. Tabby's Death Stance, top side, lot of frontline to get through. Guff is on 943 on the creeps alone. Expected to be around half that damage on the squishies, around 500 if he crits. As London United yielding to the pressure of UniQ across the map here. Mid lane, no priority. That priority being used by UniQ to rotate out towards the top side. Neos picks up that tier 2 tower, 600 gold in his back pocket. Already has 2 items himself. And UniQ, at the very least, controlling the tempo on the map. Have the first say on these waves. Now, London United, in Super Big Fun, did have a means to push in the bottom side, but UniQ back away from that mid lane wave and kind of threaten potentially collapsing on the side lane, so not going to be able to start hitting on that tier 2, try and pick up anything. And yeah, I think London United for now just going to have to probably wait until this next Dragon fight. I don't think UniQ are going to give them another opportunity. I think UniQ are going to play high up on these waves, and with the limited engage options that London United have, you know, if they go in with that Kledorm, that's about all they really have going for them. It's going to have to be on a good timer where you don't see Neos with, you know, the Gnar ultimate, or the Mega Gnar rather, up and available, so they can immediately turn team fight on its head. UniQ just sitting here for now, farming up, getting towards the next items. As Eden could actually find himself caught out here. United are aware that the Wonk is still in the top side jungle, but won't be able to just distort the safety. And UniQ just fine. Honestly, cruising until this next dragon.
Absolutely, they don't need to do anything silly, and I think that's one of the defining features of this new meta, this slightly slower way that teams are playing League of Legends, is the fact that the game is much more about flashpoints now. As you were talking about these random big team fights at the end of the games that kind of just win it for one side or the other, we're not seeing necessarily the same level of ebb and flow back and forth that we were seeing in downtime that we saw last split. It's more about, look, we know that we're going to fight in. We're probably going to get a fight in about a minute's time because Dragon's going to be coming up. Both teams want it. It's sold for UniQ. But between the last Dragon and this one, teams are just farming up. No one's really giving the opportunity to make a mistake because, yeah, Eden can extend a little bit. He's LeBlanc, don't worry about it. Everyone else is just kind of setting up lines of scrimmage and getting gold into them. And it's fascinating to see because it's just it's such a departure from what we were watching last split, especially when we've seen some of these players in that faster paced League of Legends style and seeing that they can just as easily play in this kind of way as well, as we do get towards that 40 seconds before Dragon, and this is where the trigger is going to be pulled. The damage coming down from Bengi. Nice to get a double knock up there, as now we see Nar diving forward. Who can he catch? He only catches one because he's stunned up for too long, but Guff on the side, getting damage down onto one, takes him down. Super Big Fun will be disbanded. Rust Snubby gets away for a second, will be able to survive as Bengi flashes over the wall to secure the kill, as London United are not winning this one. Guff needs one more auto, cannot find it onto Rusty Sniper, or Sarge even, because Rusty Sniper's already dead. As UniQ don't lose a member, take down 4 and move towards Baron.
You know, in Division 1, we joke about Venza having the assassin tag from TFT put on his name, but Guff just splashed into 4 members if London United to make that team fight work. And I mean, hell, he was mincing through them with the axes. They're going to pick up the Baron off the back of this. Neos on the bottom side looks to be taking down the Dragon, and London United just don't have the members to stop this happening. So Soul in the back pocket of UniQ, and so will this Baron buff. They will look to extend and close out this game, which for a moment we felt was, you know, honestly, London United favored. I think the game state really was edging more and more towards them. That UniQ draft was going to be difficult to pile out in some of these team fights, but it's just time and time again pulling the trigger at the correct time. This time they take the front to back fight, and it actually ends up working, which sort of surprises me. But again, if it works, just sit there and be happy about the fact that it does. They pick up 4 members, and we'll see whether or not they want to try and repeat that. That could have been a bit of a fluke. The ability to, you know, shut down one target so quickly at the start of the fight really did benefit UniQ there, but United, how will they hold on is now my big question, because Baron buff, so many items being completed again on this reset. UniQ looking incredibly powerful.
I mean, it was a fascinating... Whoa! Eden, okay. Eden, I take it back. Your LeBlanc is terrifying. Please don't hurt me, as Buzzy will get called out. The order actually going to go down onto him, as now they might be looking to try and take the 4v5 on the tower. They don't care about the tower dive, as Buzzy's going to put down the Glacial Fissure, lands onto one. It's only Shafto who will be able to dive away. The order from Draven does manage to land a kill, but puts in a little bit of damage as they press towards the inhibitor tower. Remember, Huncut dead for 20 seconds. Does have ultimate to get back into the mix when he's alive, but it looks like UniQ just want to put the damage down. We'll be able to catch Rusty Sniper. A lot of damage goes on to him. He goes golden, looking to survive a little bit longer, but it's going to be Eden securing the kill onto that one. And now it looks like UniQ might be trying to force through and end this game. They're looking to get the damage down. The snare lands onto Super Big Fun, but that's going to be an even bigger snare landing down onto other members. Everyone's dead. Super Big Fun will be running back towards Huncut there as well, but he's dismounted, needs to be careful. The damage is big. It's another kill going over to Nar as Talia dies on the steps. And just like that, the game goes from 0 to 100, and the 100 is UniQ as they pick up their second win of the season.
Yeah, wasn't as clean as Tuesday, we'll say that. Couple of question marks. Eden's early game wasn't the best, but he certainly redeemed himself in the later stages there with those assassinations onto the backline. And yeah, about that game, I think a lot more to be happy about compared to me. I'm not sure about the clip pick in this instance. I get it, right? Does lane fairly well into the Nar if you can really get the ball rolling, but that's exactly the point. They couldn't get the ball rolling. And to me, I feel like what we needed to see was a pick that was more stable, more suited towards those team fights. I think the Orn's Band, the way I called out the Malphite, even maybe the Scion, something that can, you know, retaliate on dives. You already have the Braum there. You have the, I beg your pardon, the Talia to sort of deal with some of the mobility. I think having the extra ability to then snap re-engage was really, really needed and missing throughout that game. and it's come to bite them in the back. So they couldn't get that cleared rolling, and UniQ's champions were able to just snowball after that massive flank from Shafty at that 3rd or 4th dragon fight.
Absolutely. I mean, Rock Beggy used to have massive props as well for those Nautilus engages towards the end. The ultimate did prove to be decisive in the last couple of team fights that saw the game swing from, even if London United favoured potentially, into a game that was definitely going to be favoured by UniQ, who went on to win the matchup. We're going to jump to a short break. When we come back, it's interview time, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few.